And we are back with a bit of a bonus quickfire episode, just getting to know each other as we enter into series 3. Joe and I have spoken with a lot of people and we've chatted a lot of ideas, and we thought, why not share a bit about ourselves and why we are doing this podcast and who we're about. So we hope you enjoy this bonus episode.
So today we have a very, very special guest welcomed onto the Gourds and Pomegranates podcast. It is none other than my co-host, Hannah Fleming-Hill.
Woo woo!
Hannah, welcome to Gourds and Pomegranates.
Thank you.
Does it feel exciting to be here?
I've heard so much about this podcast.
Good things, I hope.
Yes.
Awkward silence. So we have a tradition, as you well know, of asking some quickfire questions when we have a guest come on to get to know them. So first of all, Hannah, what is your favourite biscuit?
It's so not a quick fire question. Depends what's in the box. But to be honest, like if I had to, a good old chocolate hobnob, I think. I'll probably change my mind by the time the episode comes out. But I'm going to say a chocolate hobnob and a big cup of tea to dunk it in.
That's a solid choice as long as you mean cup of coffee.
Yeah. You don't dunk it to
and
coffee.
What is your favourite social platform? Now, given that you are a social media specialist and a digital missioner, as you'll tell us a bit more about in a minute, there's quite a big question.
It really depends. Again, depends what the job is. Probably at the minute, I'd say TikTok, purely because it is a video platform and the quality of content, people aren't just making bizarre at-home dancing videos. They are making unbelievably movie quality, incredible videos, and it's just amazing and very inspiring. And I currently am having to unfollow a load of accounts because I'm at my max of 10,000 followers. No, following. I'm following. I don't have 10,000 followers.
You've hit 10,000 following.
I'm following 10,000. Oh yeah, I don't know how that happened. So I need to get rid of the ones I don't need to follow so that I can follow some more relevant ones, because I have a couple of clients that I need to start following to be able to help them. So yeah, I think at the minute TikTok.
Yeah, fair play, fair enough. So next question is, and this is a very loaded question, any favourite podcasts? Are there any regulars that you sort of tune into?
Not really. Other than re-listening to ours the day the new episode comes out to remind us myself how good it was.
That's Gourds and Pomegranates, gppodcast.uk.
Available on all podcast streaming platforms. I do really like Off Menu because I like food and it's a fun interview concept. It's very good. But honestly, I'm really liking audiobooks at the moment. So I'm tending to, for audio, as in if it's not music and I just want to listen to someone talk, I'm listening to audiobooks at the minute.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I can understand that. And then the last and most difficult question, gourd or pomegranate?
You're not asking it like James Acaster does. Gourds or pomegranates? I think I'm probably going to have to go with a pomegranate, partly because I'm in my new office and I've got some surface wipe things and I picked up the pomegranate ones purely for us, which made me laugh quite crazily in the aisle, that I'm sure everyone was like, what's wrong with this woman? But yeah,
it's weird how much we both started noticing gourds and pomegranates so much more in our daily lives.
Yes. I have so many pictures of pomegranates on my phones now.
I think we need to have a live poll on the website or something of whether the needle is swinging towards the gourds or the pomegranates.
Yeah. I just find it funny that when we've spoken to people, they go, I don't know what a gourd is.
Yeah, that's generally the first response, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're doing our bit for educating people of what gourds are anyway.
Yeah. We should come up with a recipe book now.
That's it. So the point of these little bonus episodes in between the series is to give a bit of a reminder, a little bit of in-depth sort of look of who we are as the hosts. So I guess that's the next question. Remind us who you are.
Hello, my name is Hannah. I am in my early 30s and I live on the south coast. I live literally in a little area of Dorset called Purbeck. I switch my time between both ends of it, Wareham and Swanage. So I typically am posting lots of pictures of walks and sea activities on my social media. I have a husband, Josh, and a little dog, Fabienne, who is here. I think if we just see him just there. If you ever hear like snorting, snoring, anything that sounds a bit like a pig or a troll, that's him. He's very lovely. He's very affectionate. He just does sound quite sort of ominous off camera.
It's mad that I haven't had to edit any of that out.
No.
Considering how much I hear it.
Yeah. Normally he is sat with me. Yeah, podcast hasn't been too bad. It's been when I've done like a webinar or I don't know, I'm doing something online and then you just hear this kind of and I'm like, yeah, it's not me.
Mid-presentation, you think someone's left the mic off and like they're falling asleep, and it's really encouraging.
Yeah, it's very, very helpful. But it's he's very lovely. So yeah, that's where I am.
Okay, so if that's a picture of sort of who you are,
my domestic,
a big part of that is what you do for a living. So when people ask that, how would you describe it?
I don't know what I do, to be honest. Or
depends who's asking.
Things. Yeah, it does actually. So I call myself a digital missioner because I see the digital world online, whether that's social media, video, content creation, websites, exploring AI, virtual reality, and all things like that, as an amazing, wondrous, incredible opportunity for us to share the gospel in these spaces and to explore a relationship with God through that. Again, through TikTok videos and stuff. I have watched a video that, like, the thing that gives me chills are like drone videos of cliffs, you know, dramatic coastlines and stuff like that. And I just think that's amazing. And for me, I sense God through that video. And I just think, why can't we explore God through those means? You know, he, in the Bible, expressed himself through people, through wind, through fire and the burning bush, throughout the Bible. And I think, why can't people say like, oh no, he can't be online because that's not, I don't even know their excuses, but you know, no, it's not possible.
No,
I'm like,
and it's weird to still hear it in 2023, but you do still hear it.
Oh, absolutely. And I think, wow, you're putting God into a box of saying he's incapable of doing something like that. That doesn't quite make sense. So that's, yeah. So that's sort of where my title comes from. Plus also it's vague enough that it counts on, it means I can get away with doing so much, because what does that mean? Well, it means kind of anything. So I have a couple of contracts with various national and regional organizations, mostly in the Baptist family. It's not intentionally been that way. That's just sort of how kind of my networking has gone. And I help with comms for some of them. So we'll be managing content on website, writing newsletters, writing social media posts, and then other contracts and sort of client relationships is sort of filmmaking. So making short films about missional projects or certain people doing really cool community activities. And then I am also involved in a project called Changemakers, which is a, again, national project where there's a group of us making films about social justice issues that we want to challenge people, whether that's individuals or churches, church leaders, into sort of challenging people to really think about, you know, what do we do about the climate crisis or cost of living crisis? You know, actually, we're all talking about it, and what do we do in an intentional and, I don't want to say strategic, because that sounds like we've just had a load of meetings and we're not actually going to do about it, but something that will create a lasting impact rather than just, oh, poor you, here, have a food bank or something like that. So yeah, that's a very exciting project. So many ideas, and every time we meet, we're like, hey, let's do this thing as well. So it's been such an exciting project.
And so that's something I've been able to be involved with a little bit as well, which has been really great. So I've been able to make the website at changemakersmedia.uk, and that's going to be launching soon. So go and have a look there.
Very exciting. So yeah, that's kind of me. And then I also do a monthly webinar thing with the Baptist Union called First Fridays, where we do a kind of a lunchtime drop-in on various topics, which is really exciting because, again, it's on sort of the level that we're kind of talking at of, you know, here's how you navigate something, here's why we need to be thinking about it. And it's been really nice seeing people over the last 6 months since we started it to kind of develop and sort of go, oh, I actioned that thing that you said. And actually it wasn't as complicated as it seemed at, or like I initially thought it to be. So that's been very exciting to sort of do that and sort of grow with those people.
Yeah, really hands-on to see how you're making a difference. Yeah.
Yeah.
So another thing that you mentioned before was your current studies. So you're doing, have I got this right, a master's in digital theology?
Yes, at Spurgeon's College.
So how's that going? Is there anything particularly interesting that you've covered that you might want to just share?
All of it's interesting. So fun times though. Today, when we're recording, it's the day after I got the results for my final assignment of the year. So I have passed this year. Praise Jesus. It's been an amazing degree. It has been academically challenging. Some of the really exciting stuff was talking about exploring kind of AI and what that means for us as from a studies point of like how should we not use ChatGPT, but of that how do we respond to things like that for our faith and sort of spiritual journeys with churches. One of the things that I really love, always questioning when doing talks and things with places, especially with ministers. Actually, this is I enjoy asking this question. Do robots go to heaven? And having people kind of questioning that and the sort of effectively looking at what is humanism and sort of transhumanism in the sense of our bodies have been adapted. You wear glasses, so technically you're a cyborg, just so you know. And, you know, people with hearing aids or pacemakers, actually, we are manipulating our bodies, but in the sense of for enhanced living. And that's not a bad thing. But then is it a scale as our technology advances that we will do more and more of that to our world and therefore our bodies? So it's like, you know, it wasn't really much to do with digital as such or sort of that element of it. But it was just fascinating to kind of really think about your faith and like what you see as qualifying as human. Like it was incredible kind of sociology. Loved that lecture, but all of it's been absolutely fascinating and so many different elements of, again, from AI, robots, to thinking about biblical literacy. How do we engage with people online? What does church actually look like? So thinking kind of ecclesiological stuff. So so it's been really interesting.
That's really good. And I think, you know, for obvious reasons, when we talk about issues, even complex issues on the podcast, we have to try and be concise because otherwise the episodes would be 3 hours long and people would fall asleep like Fabienne. But also because we're trying to keep things simple, we can't delve right into the ins and outs and everything like that. And even when you've got a project or something that you're working on that touches on those things, you don't have the time. So I imagine that as well as it being a really good learning academic experience, it's also just been nice to have the space and the excuse to explore those topics a bit more deeply.
Absolutely. And what's been really interesting is that we're only a small class. I think we've maxed at like 15, depending on the module. But we've had Church of England vicars, there's a guy from Salvation Army, there's a Baptist minister, there's something with sort of a more Pentecostal, international, sort of linked with African communities. And so it's just been amazing learning from all these different people. Like we're a small group, but we seem to be have an extremely diverse denominational background, which I think has really enriched it. So I have loved it. And I'm going to be sad that I've technically don't have any more teaching classes left. Gosh, I don't, do I? I don't think I've only got my dissertation left to do, which will be next year. So that's exciting and terrifying at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously you mentioned a bit about your work and I mean, you mentioned about TikTok as well. You're very active on social media. So if people who are listening want to go and find you online, how can they do that? Best
way is, to be honest, on most social platforms, I am at the Hannah FH. But you can also find me on my work website, which is fhdigital.co.uk. I'm trying to work on my personal blog again. That's hannahfleminghill.co.uk. But best place is finding me kind of Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Threads. I am on Threads now with @the Hannah FH. But please do connect, say hi.
There you go. Well, thank you for that, Hannah. And hopefully you'll come back on the podcast again.
I'll think about it.
Hopefully for the listener, you've enjoyed this little bonus episode, and it's given you a just a bit more insight into one of your favourite presenters. So yeah, there might just be another bonus interview coming your way very soon. I won't reveal who it is.
I'm so excited to be able to speak to him.
Exactly. Subscribe if you haven't already. There are people that listen that don't subscribe, so you'll get it every week. And yeah, it won't be long at all until we're back with Series 3. So yeah, we'll be back then, and you can listen to Series 3 of Gourds and Pomegranates. We'll see you there.